Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Coteries of New York. I am storyteller Ellie Collins, feeling a lot better this time for part 3. So I think we should just go ahead and jump right into it. So last when we left off, we had met Hope, the Malkavian. She is awesome. It got a bit meta with modding her stream. We met a preacher who had true faith, so got a little uncomfortable getting close to that preacher. But this is going to be really good. So let's get this music going and let's get started. There we go. All right, Lamar, night 6. Okay. So we still have... So first we're going to need to rest. But we still have... It's kind of magic. Sophie mention of a vampire clan of blood sorcerers sparked your attention. One of them, Agathon, could potentially be your introduction into the bizarre powers of the Tremere. So we have a Tremere boy. We can go see Hope again. A recent string of violent killings has the Red Hook district of Brooklyn on edge. Sophie mentioned that Kadir Al-Asmai has a secret associate investigating the murders, a Nosferatu neonate by the name of D'Angelo. If you help him out, he might be persuaded to form a lasting partnership. So we can do that one. Oh, thank you so much, Destin. And the scarred one. Upon returning to your haven, you find a small scrap of paper lying on your windowsill. Need a favor? If you're still up for it, come meet me in Prospect. Tam. And Tam is the get girl that we met before. So first let's rest, and then we'll choose who we're going to go see. You're walking down the street towards your haven. In some other town, the sidewalks would be deserted this time of night. In NYC, there are plenty of passerbys going about their business. It's easy to be paranoid when you're a vampire surrounded by a crowd of humans. The kindred have many enemies, and all those enemies have one trait in common. They're invisible, indistinguishable from normal humanity. Other vampires, hunters, all look like people. Is that old man just a tired restaurant worker, or a kindred thrall tailing your movements? Are the officers idly waiting in the patrol car ordinary cops, or Second Inquisition specialists looking to end undead threats? This kind of thinking leads to madness, but you can't shake the feeling that someone is watching you. It's not the first time you felt like this. Following the cue of so many mortals around you, you stop at the street corner to casually survey your surroundings, as if you were trying to remember which turn to take. You look around ostensibly at street signs, but in reality to see if someone is really following you. Down the street where you came from, a crowd of young drunk men argue loudly about baseball. There's an indistinct figure standing behind them, almost impossible to notice. A woman, probably. The men unconsciously move around her as they start to walk away, still mouthing off at each other. Whatever this is, it's probably something you have to take care of. Best case, someone is tailing you. Worst case, you'll be attacked and killed. Unfortunately, being undead has its limitations. The sun is coming up soon, and you'll burn to a crisp if you stay on the streets. You reach your haven and settle in for the day, disconcerted by the idea that someone might know where you sleep. Ooh. As you wake from your slumber and emerge from your haven for the night, you notice a familiar face on the other side of the street, standing on the corner looking straight at you. It's Kaiser's lackey, whom you met recently, Jackie. He nods to you, encouraging you to approach. His hands are outside of his pockets, and he seems pretty relaxed. He's keeping his eyes on the street, though, as if making sure you're alone. He smiles awkwardly when you approach. Evening. Got something for you from our mutual friend. He produces a crumpled piece of paper from his jacket pocket and hands it to you. Read it, memorize it, then give it back here. It's a letter. The paper might just be a page ripped out of a spiral notebook, but the writing on it is exquisitely detailed and deliberate. It reads, "Time to square your debt with me. Go to the wine shop at 232 Mulberry Street and ask for the 1821 Special Reserve Donatello Negro Amaro. Okay, we're gonna have to remember that. I have a feeling we're going, like, that's gonna become a dialogue option. So, y'all help me remember. 1821 Special Reserve Donatello Negro Amaro. When they tell you they don't have it, say you are a fidel servitore della familia. This is a lot of Italian. Oh no. Oh no. Those exact fucking words, and make sure you get the G right. Oh no. Oh no. This is too much option for failure. Okay. All right. Fedele servitore della famiglia G. Okay, we gotta get, and we have to say those exact words and get the G right. Okay. You'll get a bottle. Just take it and leave by saying grazie. Don't ask how much it is or anything else. Just walk out. When you have it, come back to Jackie Boy here and let him know. You done? Memorize that shit and hand it over. Oh, we need to feed soon. Oh, fuck. I just noticed. Look at the blood around the edge of the screen. It's a little more prominent on mine. Y'all can't see as well because of the frame. But yeah, there's a lot of blood around the screen, which means we need to eat fucking soon. These are both, like, really mean. I'm gonna say didn't think your boss was a letter guy. Didn't peg your boss for a letter kind of guy. Isn't electronic communication his whole shtick? Yeah, well, some things are better done the old-fashioned way. You about done with that letter? You note the phrase and address mentioned in the letter, then hand it back to Jackie. He immediately reaches for a lighter and burns the letter, putting out the ashes with his boot. So yeah, when you do what the boss asks, come back here so I can tell you where to go next. I'll be in the alley over there, so you'll find me when you have the item, whatever it is. I don't know. And the boss made it extra clear that I shouldn't care, so I don't. See ya. I wonder if that was just like just an intimidating, like, and you don't care about this, or if it was actually like the suggestion. He shuffles away and leaves you to pursue the lead from the letter. Time to pay a visit to Nolita. New York people, what is Nolita? Is that like North Little Italy? I might be right. I don't know. The chat has a little bit of a delay. I'm gonna wager it's North Little Italy. You arrive at the address mentioned in the note. Not counting local restaurant patrons, the street is mostly empty at this time of night. But curiously, the wine shop is still open. Inside, a small, middle-aged woman with curly hair strands behind the counter in front of a wall filled with wine bottles. There's a door at the back of the room with a small table and chair occupied by a man in a black faux leather jacket with slick, comb-back hair. Ooh. North of Little Italy! I was right! Yay! I may not be a New Yorker, but I'll figure out New York stuff. He's reading a newspaper, but pauses as a little bell rings when you open the door. He takes a sip from a small steaming cup, then goes back to his broadsheet. Oh, she's so cute! Oh, I love that dress, too. Good lord, girl, wear that dress. Good evening. How can I help you? I think they wanted me to be direct. I was just supposed to go in and say the thing. Yeah. I would like a bottle. Okay, thank God. Thank God they did not give me the option to fail here. Granted. Let me check our stock. She seems to be looking through a database on the laptop sitting on the counter. She puts on a polite smile. I'm afraid we don't have that one at the moment. Sorry. Oh, no. I feel like straight and simple is the right way. Yeah. Yeah, straight and simple. Ah, in that case, let me see if we have any in the back. Wait here, please. Thank God it didn't give me the chance to, like, really fuck up there. The woman leaves the counter and goes through the doors in the back. The man at the table puts down his newspaper and takes another sip from the cup, washing it down with a gulp of water from the nearby glass. He tries to hide it, but there's no doubt he's watching you. About a minute passes. We're gonna remain silent. We had a very direct mission. If I was just here, like, casually... Also, for everyone asking about her bra... from being a customer, I can tell you that there are certain dress materials that it just does that. That is a very, very well-tailored, well-enforced set of seams with very taut fabric. Because I have a few dresses, that behave as such. So we're going to remain silent and wait. You remind yourself of what Kaiser wrote in the letter and keep quiet, patiently waiting for the woman to return from the back of the store. The man finishes his drink and starts doodling on the newspaper, his eyes darting to you every so often. Shit. The doors to the back of the store open and the proprietor emerges with a small, unlabeled, squat bottle of crimson liquid. She gives you an apologetic smile. Scusi, sorry for taking so long. Turns out we did have it. She offers you the bottle and you reach out to grab it, but she retracts it. You do know what this is, don't you? Oh no. We weren't prepared for this. If I use a power, I'm probably gonna frenzy, because I've got too much blood. Off script. Yeah, no power. We're gonna go with option 2. Yeah, so when you guys suggest powers, we're gonna keep this as option 2 and this as option 3 just because it's in those spots and it's easier for me to remember. Well, this is a wine shop, so it's wine, surely. Well, of course, the best kind of wine. Enjoy. She winks at you. Deciding you've pushed your luck far enough, you nod and exit the store, and then you take a brisk walk to your car. Nobody follows you as you leave Nolita and drive back to your apartment. I was supposed to say grazie! Takes you some time to find a parking spot, but you finally get out of the car and start looking for Jackie. He's not far from where you parted ways just under 2 hours ago. Got the goods? Sure do. Cool. Stand by. Gotta make the call. Takes a few more steps into a narrow space between 2 buildings and takes out some high-tech phone you saw him carrying last time. Hey, boss. Yeah, they have it. Where do I point them to? Okay. Yeah, I'll tell him to go there right away. He puts the phone back in his pocket and turns back to you. Willet's Point. Half an hour, so you better step on it. See you around. With only a flippant salute, Jackie starts walking down the street. You make your way back to the car and drive. You had to push the speed limit a little to make it on time, but you're here. Willet's Point's quite a change of scenery. The place is a post-industrial dump, the nearby stadium notwithstanding. Oh, this art's beautiful. This art's really beautiful. Also, I do believe I have a blood bag on me, but I don't have an option right now to drink it. So I don't know how to go find someone Okay. You stop your car once you realize that if you go any further down, the potholes will kill your chassis. You step out into one of the gashes of the asphalt, splashing in ankle-deep water. Ugh. Kaiser's limo is nowhere to be seen. In fact, the whole place is pretty much deserted, other than the apparent proprietor of a lonely bar, a middle-aged woman who's just locking the place up. Y'all, we kinda gotta. I'm afraid. Because we really need to feed, but I also should probably wait. You guys vote. I can't make a decision. So you guys vote on what we do. Wait. Because we're not going to look around, because that's suspicious. So we either wait, or we're going to snick snack. Okay, y'all are all voting Monch. So we're going to Monch. This is too perfect an opportunity to not take advantage of. She's walking to her car, ready to call it a night when you sneak up on her. She's far too tired to resist your strong hold and swift bite. You can taste the caffeine in her veins, smell the cheap cigarettes in her hair, the old cooking grease in her clothes. She passes out, your assault the closing note of a long day at work. You let her down gently and feel a pang of remorse. You pick up the car key she dropped and place her in the driver's seat. She'll find an explanation for passing out like this for sure. So that is partially true, because mortals experience, like grand euphoria when they're fed on. So as far as she knows, she probably like was so exhausted from work that she's gonna think like she just had a head rush going to the car and passed out. So, you know, she's fine. She's fine. She's just gonna think she got a head rush and passed out. Totally common after working a long night at the bar. That's how we make ourselves feel better, right? She's not dead. She's just sleepy. She's a sleepy girl. But yeah, like, canonically, humans don't not enjoy, being bitten. So the explanation is it varies from, like, just euphoria to, like, kind of that head rush sensation to, ecstasy. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a bar owner. I must have forgotten to eat dinner, Lamar side-eye. Yeah. So, she's gonna be fine. She's gonna be fine. We didn't kill her. That was my fear. But we didn't kill her. She's gonna be fine. Okay. The bright lights of a car pulling over down the road illuminate you as you walk close to the door. It's a black limo. Kaiser is finally here, it would seem. Same as last time. The car doors open, but nobody comes out. You know the drill. This time, Kaiser is visible when you look inside. You sit down and close the door behind you. So, you pulled it off without a hitch then. Give it here. You hand the bottle over to the Nosferatu. He uncorks it gently, takes a whiff, and puts the cork back in. Yeah, that's the stuff. See, that wasn't so hard. Consider your debt paid. Oh yeah, and also, take this. It's what Langley wanted. He passes you an envelope with what feels like a thick card inside. We're just gonna say thank you. I don't really feel like pushing my luck. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Kaiser. Yeah. I'll send Jackie over if I need anything else from you. How about that? Time for you to get out now. He waves you out of the car with the envelope in hand. You get out, back onto the torn asphalt in decrepit surroundings. The limo slowly drives away. Finally, you can return to Sophie and bring her what she wanted. Gregory lets you in. You hear a shrill, unpleasant laugh, and you realize Sophie's having a guest over. Is anyone else here a weeboo and hear shrill, unpleasant laugh and just imagine the One's sound? Oh, kind of laugh. I want to imagine that's what's happening. Oh, oops. He's the man from Elysium. The one with the glasses and good taste in suits. You didn't have... Typo. You didn't have the chance to talk to him unless you saw him. Oh god, the chat. Oh! Ah, Lamar. So glad to see you. Tell me, did the two of you previously meet? The man doesn't wait for you to answer. He approaches you with an energetic, almost dance-like step and puts out his hand. Thomas Arturo, I've heard about you. Pleasure, pleasure. Thomas is a great source of gossip and an excellent conversationalist. I also have the prince's ear, which is the primary reason dear Miss Langley wished to speak to me tonight. Good gossip, even coming from me, isn't nearly as valued. Sad. I like this guy. Sophie is taken aback by the man's direct comment, but smiles politely. The awkward atmosphere is broken again by the guest's grating laugh. I kid, of course, I kid. Well, I was about to leave anyway, so I'll leave you two to it. Good night, Sophie. Lamar. Greggy boy. Sophie's driver opens the door for Arturo, and the guest steps out with a single wave of the hand towards his host and you. The doors close. Voicing him like a quiz show host, yeah. Greggy boy. Alright, so what's his deal? What a creeper. He's quite the character, isn't he? The first two seem rude, so I'm gonna go with 3. He's quite the character, isn't he? Yes, quite, but he has his uses. Thomas has clout in court and access to many juicy details on everyone from the prince to the lowliest primogen. It's useful to have him on your side, even if his eccentricity requires some patience. That's what people say about me. Speaking of patience, you have been putting mine to the test lately. Did you manage to contact Kaiser and acquire what I asked for? Well, somebody's rude today. Lowliest primogen, I imagine, is going to be the thin blood primogen that we met at the thing that was not well thought of, and we weren't supposed to talk to him. Alright. Let's see here. Sophie's hangry. And needs a Snickers. Snickers is the name of the man downstairs. Hungry? Why wait? Grab a security guard. Alright. Should we tell her that we had to do another job for him for her? Can I get thin blood rights in the chat? Thin blood rights! Alright. I have it. Sorry for the wait. We're not saying number 3. This is stepsire, so no. Yes, but I had to do another job first, or I have it. Sorry for the wait. Yeah, let's just be polite about it. We've been playing along. We're gonna be a good little cammy bitch. I do have it. He gave me this card. Apologies for keeping you waiting. She retrieves the envelope from you. What's important is that you have it. Did he give you trouble? Oh, I feel like both of these betray Kaiser's trust. But Kaiser must know that we're gonna tell her. Like, he knows we're a little bitch boy. He knows we're gonna tell her. Yeah, let's go the second option. This is a difficult decision. He had me go on an entirely separate escapade to retrieve a bottle of wine from a store in Nolita. I had to use code phrases and whatnot. That's way more information than I would have given. Lamar is just bleh. Info dump. Wine shop. Code phrases. That degenerate pest. She's visibly agitated but calms down and smiles at you. Don't worry about it. I'll make sure that whatever Kaiser had you do, it'll blow over. Yeah, so that being way more info, that's kind of my curse with anything that has choosable dialogue options. I'll be like, oh, yes, this is the tight and, neat dialogue option. This is exactly what I want to say. And then they'll be like, here's 3 other sentences of shit you didn't want to say. And it happens to me every single time. She opens the envelope and looks at the card. You notice the same lettering you saw in Kaiser's note from before, but can't see the details. Her eyes widen. Yes, excellent. I need to call in some favors. You'll likely be busy for the next few nights. You have my permission to show some initiative, my dear charge. I will contact you soon. With that, Sophie ushers you outside, and you're left to do with the rest of the night hours as you like. All right, whoa, what's this? Somebody's watching me, part 1. Oh, fuck. So, do we want to see Hope? Do we want to see D'Angelo, Tam, the Tremere, or the person following me? Let's see. Which one should we do? I'm going to let you guys choose. Yeah, I feel like we need to do the person following me. Otherwise, the person following me might show up in these other routes. Oh, but we're getting lots of votes for D'Angelo. Yeah, I say let's get a buddy on our side. Let's get D'Angelo. As you make your way down Clinton Street, the incessant hum of traffic gives way to the ominous silence on the waterfront. You stop to take in the familiar bouquet of the Hudson, made all the more potent by your recently sharpened senses. The bouquet of the Hudson, okay. Across the basin, the Red Hook grain terminal rears its rusty frame. Once a bustling industrial area, now a sleepy giant splayed out on the riverbank. Forgotten. Abandoned. Conveniently so, especially for one of the hidden. The bouquet of the Hudson is rotten mafia hits. Keeping to the shadows, you sneak closer to the dilapidated complex, making your way past hole-ridden silos and wobbly chain-link fences. Oh, this is so spooky. By the time you reach the entrance to the main building, you can almost feel the rust particles making themselves cozy at the back of your throat. Ugh. That's how I feel right now. Not getting your hopes up, you give the door a slight nudge. To your surprise, it gives almost instantly. Looks like someone's been using it recently. Once inside, you find yourself in a large, empty hall. Looking around, you can almost picture it back in its heyday, stacked to the rafters with heavy machinery. You notice a set of stairs leading up to a mezzanine, most likely an office space, and then you see it. A faint light coming from one of the upper rooms. Looks like you're in luck. Quietly, with bated breath, you climb the steps and approach the dimly lit room. The door creaks open, revealing what looks like an old-timey detective's office, complete with crooked window blinds, an overflowing ashtray, and paper scattered across a wooden desk. I want to know our entrance to this. In all the dilapidated buildings in all of New York, she had to walk into mine. Alright. Suddenly, it hits you. That nagging feeling. This is all too convenient. Too inviting. Before you can react, the trap is already sprung. Fuck. A plume of cigar smoke wafts over your shoulder. The barrel of a gun rubs against your spine. A raspy voice whispers in your ear. Let me guess. Took a wrong turn at the third silo? Let's attempt to talk. Lamar is so good at walking into ambushes. He is. He is a ignorant boy. Alright. We're gonna try and talk him down. Because I feel like... I feel like using presence isn't really smart right now. Especially since we, just fed. I don't know if we have enough to really use power again, because we are a hungry boy. You decide to play along. Raising your arms slowly, you weigh your next words carefully. You're pretty sure a bullet to the back wouldn't kill you, but it doesn't sound too pleasant either. I'm not good at situations like these. Like, I would get killed so quickly if I was Kindred. Sorry, y'all. Oddly enough, I'm more tired today than usual. Yes, I have 2 cups of water. But I woke up early. I made breakfast. So, I actually made scrambled eggs and croissants this morning. I tried. I tried to be a responsible adult. Yeah, let's... I feel like... How about we talk this out like civilized Kindred? Just so that he knows. You know? Like, hey, buddy. I'm like you. Let's see. I'm gonna say, how about we talk like civilized Kindred? How about you lower your gun so we can talk like civilized Kindred? Oh, I'm plenty civilized, see? You can feel the barrel digging deeper into your back. Fuck. Double action, carbon steel framed. Finest handgun your hard-earned money can buy. Doesn't get much more civilized than that. I'm still gonna try and talk my way out of this. Might not go well. We're gonna try. If you're gonna shoot me, you might as well give me the courtesy of looking me in the eye. For a few tense seconds, the room grows quiet. So quiet, in fact, that you could swear you can actually hear the smoke swirling in the air. Finally, the stranger speaks again. You know what? Fair enough. In a strange interplay of light and shadow, the stranger reappears behind his desk. Ah! Obfuscate! Seeing him in his full, for lack of a better word, glory, you can't help but smirk. This is the dreaded Nosferatu? The way Sophie described him, you were expecting some grotesque monstrosity. But this guy? The clothes, the swagger, the hard-boiled detective routine, it all comes across as a bad joke. Still, when it comes to appearance, his lineage is undeniable. That is a very fancy way of saying, yeah, but he's so ugly, I know he's a Nosferatu. That's so mean! From 30 feet away, he could probably pass for a bum with a nasty skin condition. From 5 feet away, he looks like something made to be seen from 30 feet away. That's so mean. Why? Why are we so mean to Nosferatu in this game? It's not fair. It's not fair to them. Nosferatu try their best. He leans back in his chair, casually pointing his gun at you. So, what brings you to my humble office? What, are you D'Angelo or the Red Hook murders? We're not going to say I'm looking for a Nosferatu. Husband. I don't know. I love that his BD says no. His fashion is amazing. He reminds me of oh, what is his name from Borderlands? Oh, the guy with the frick. That's gonna bug me. I can't remember his name. Yeah, his hat says no. No, not Scooter, not Ellie's brother. I'll figure it out later. Yeah, the shut-in dude with the Hawaiian shirt. Alright, we're gonna say, are you D'Angelo? You the one they call D'Angelo? No. Not the Iridium guy. I'll figure it out later. This is such a. Are we playing into the hard-boiled detective thing? Like, are you the one they called D'Angelo? TK Baja. That's his freaking name. Thank you. Thank you. He reminds me of TK Baja. That's my name, kid. Don't wear it out. My friends call me Jin, so you best stick to D'Angelo for the time being. I love him. I love him so much. Now I suggest you tell me what this is about. Otherwise, I kindly ask you to get the fuck out of my office. I can see why Kadir keeps you. I know who you work for. We've been a name-dropping bitch through this whole time, so let's continue being a name-dropping bitch. Charming. I can see why Kadir keeps you around. His expression sours. Not a name you want to casually toss around, kid. But hey, I get it. You're not some random schmuck who wandered in here off the street, so let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Who I work for is less important. What I'm working on, however. I know. The Red Hook murders. I know. I want to help you catch the killer. His moldy lips twisted to a smile. Do you now? D'Angelo lowers his shades. For a few seconds he sits motionless with his eyes fixated on yours. Suddenly he raises his gun, almost making you flinch. Almost. Then he twirls it into his shoulder holster in a flashy display that definitely looks like it was practiced. A lot. In front of a mirror. You see the Nosferatu's lips move, but the quiet mumbling clearly isn't meant for your ears. Listening in, you're able to catch snippets of his monologue. Sure, they seem to care. What was the end game? What was their angle? Everybody's got one, even if they pretend like they don't. Especially then. What the hell? Maybe this town finally got to me. He pauses, sticks a fresh cigar between his crooked teeth. Maybe a good leap of faith is just what the doctor ordered. As much as I want to say, are you narrating? We should all be doing a noir monologue at all times. Yes, we should. Offer him a light or remain silent? I think let's stay silent. He's monologuing. You let him mumble on, listening intently. Maybe, just maybe, I could use a healthy dose of unhealthy. Once more, he looks at you intently, as if your face was an active crime scene. He speaks again, this time in his normal voice. Tell you what. I was just about to head back to the crime scene. Take a look around. Refresh my notes. You can tag along if you want to. I could use an assistant. Someone to take notes and make wild assumptions for me to shoot down. Who knows? If you're any good, I might consider making this a long-term arrangement. Ooh. Sounds good. Sure it does, kid. I'm the one who said it. Just one more thing. You still got me at a disadvantage here. Seems like you've done some digging on me, but with you, I've barely scratched the surface, you catch my drift? So answer me this. Who was it that sent you into my neck of the woods? Or in layman's terms, who do you work for? You know what? We got a brand, and that brand is name dropping. So, let's just go with it. Sophie Langley. For the first time since you got here, the Nosferatu adopts a look of genuine surprise. His eyes wander for a moment, finally giving way to a crooked smile. So you're the one, huh? The fledgling Toreador dame spared? Yeah, that would make sense. Don't think she'd appreciate you throwing her name around. Thanks for being up front, kid. One blink is enough for you to miss D'Angelo vanishing from his chair. Just when you're about to look around, he reappears right next to you. Up close, his smile is even more unnerving. All right, moonlight's burning. Let's get cracking. With a certain fascination, you watch D'Angelo stumble his way across West Brooklyn. Oddly animated, incessantly scratching his face and neck, stopping every once in a while for about a mumbling narration, he is most certainly a sight to behold. Still, he seems to be getting around okay, and you take particular note of the fact that he seems to be choosing the darker, less frequented streets. There's definitely a method to his madness. Yeah, he's playing like a crazy bum. So if he plays the crazy bum route, people will just be like, leave him be. And let him walk by. Eventually, your leprous guide takes a sudden turn off Van Brunt Street and into a particularly dingy alleyway. The torn pieces of yellow police tape are a dead giveaway. This has to be the place. Well, here we are. Time for you to earn your stripes. This is where they found him. Drained dry. Not a drop of blood in him. Before you ask, no. I didn't get to see the body, so I don't know if there were any bite marks. So what can you tell me? You take a moment to examine the crime scene. Judging by the chalk outline on the pavement, the man was killed recently. Curiously, there doesn't appear to be a trace of blood or viscera, and you know the city's cleanup crew isn't that fast or that thorough. Looking up, you notice a spray-painted sign on the wall. It reads, "The Blood Speaks," in big, crooked letters. You look to D'Angelo. The Nosferatu gives you an expecting look. I think the graffiti is more of a clue. Because if we say, how come there's no blood? It's going to be like, well, he was drained dry. Dumb shit. I'm gonna let you guys help me choose while I have an animal cracker with cookie butter. It's that time. It raises questions that Lamar seems to know. How quickly does city sanitation responds to a corpse? I feel like that's just a New York mood. Like, I feel like as a New Yorker, you know that they don't respond that well. Because Red Hook's in Brooklyn, if I remember correctly. I love this dynamic background. It's so nice. Sorry. There's little, I don't know if you can see them, there's little flies in the light. It's a wonderful detail. Yeah, let's go with the graffiti, looks like a clue. You point at the spray-painted sign. That looks like a clue. Sure, kid. Might as well start with the elephant in the room. What do you think it means? You give the sign a good hard look. It's no Rembrandt. The writing is jagged, clearly done in a hurry. Seems desperate. My thoughts exactly. It's as if someone wanted to get a message across, but was too scared to stick around and write the whole damn book. So, we got the abridged version. And then there's the blood, or lack thereof. And given that the murder was committed right here, and the victim didn't make a sound, we can therefore conclude that killer is Kindred, or the killer used a sedative. I mean, sedative is technically part of Kindred feeding, so I'm gonna say it was Kindred. Killer was Kindred. Bingo! Only a Kindred could drain a human this quickly, this quietly. Tell me, if you were to guess, which clan would you say our killer belongs to? Oh, I don't want to make such assumptions. Okay, so obvious answer feels like Malkavian because of the desperate writing and the blood speaks. Though it also feels like some spooky Tremere stuff, like if there's some blood sorcery going on here. Thin Bloods, we don't know if there's any bite marks. So we don't know if a thin blood properly... so to catch you up, for joining the chat, Mod Emily, we found a body, completely drained dry of blood, and there is scrawled writing on the wall that says "The blood speaks," and we're trying to figure out which clan we think may have done this. Malkavian's the obvious answer. Thin blood, I'm not sure, because we don't know if the body had any bite marks, and thin bloods typically can't bite. Tremere feels like the real wild card answer, that I'm not sure why we would choose it. I mean, there's some spookiness here, but... So I'm not sure. Yeah, the blood speaks is... Yeah, everyone loves D'Angelo, apparently. The blood speaks feels very spooky Tremere shit. Yeah, we haven't even met a Tremere yet, so we don't know. The only ones we know are Thin Bloods and Malkavian, so I feel like we have to choose Malkavian. D'Angelo. Alright, let's see here. Let's just say Malkavian, because technically we don't know who the Tremere are at this point. Oh, I hate being prejudiced against my clan. Maybe it's a Malkavian serial killer. They're pretty nuts, right? Wow! That wasn't what I wanted to say! That wasn't... See, there's my curse. I could have just said, the writing seems very Malkavian. But instead, I said something very judgmental. Okay. Judgy, judgy, judgy. Nah, kid. The Moonies can be a bit playful, but there's a method to their madness. It leaves a certain aftertaste. This right here, it just reeks of desperation. I might be jumping to conclusions, but my money's on the Thin Bloods. Hey, we got a new definition. Beep. Thin Bloods. Vampires with blood so diluted that they retain many human traits. The Thin Bloods are invariably clanless, survivors of the last decades of pogroms, prejudice, and ostracization. Their numbers now swell. Their messy street alchemy and ability to pass as human makes them uniquely suited to thrive outside kindred society and make their own fate in a postmodern Knights. The thin-blooded can be of any mortal origin and are not affected by their parent clan's curse nor by their preferences in the same degree as their sire. In 2009, the Inner Circle of the Camarilla issued an edict that all thin-blooded must be branded or tattooed with the mark of the crescent moon, inked by a Tremere tattoo artist or scorched with a beam of sunlight. The brand is irreversible. Many kindred still view the Thin Bloods as a threat to the Masquerade, weaklings, runoffs, I'm not saying that word, and will destroy them, if given the chance. Those who don't despise Thin Bloods tend to call them the Young Ones, Chameleons, or Duskborns. Thin Bloods are amazing. So previously, I'm surprised I didn't mention it here. In a lot of the old text, Thin Bloods were thought to be a sign of the apocalypse. Because it means that the bloodline is becoming so thin that vampires are going to become extinct. So if there's a whole bunch of Thin Bloods running around, is the apocalypse coming? Vampires are ending. So that's why a lot of people fear them, and that's why they got branded. But yeah, the Thin Blood logo is actually pretty cool. It's a circle. Draw a line down the middle, one side's dark, one side's light. It's a really cool logo. Yeah, a lot of people, myself included, think Thin Bloods are an evolution, not a sign of the apocalypse. Because, so for a lot of modern texts, what we would call a Damphir or like Daywalkers, things like that, that's a Thin Blood, essentially. So yeah, so this makes sense now. It's a Thin Blood that is getting used to feeding, so they don't know what they're doing. They drained someone completely dry and then tried to set it up to look like a serial killer crime scene. He pauses, spits out the mangled remains of a cigar.
Shit. Looks like we're gonna have to pay Larson a visit.
The Thin Blood Primogen! We know who he is. Larson? The Thin Blood Primogen?
No, Larson the bicycle repairman. Course the Thin Blood fucking Primogen. Not sure if he knows who the killer is, but he could probably make an educated guess. In any case, we'd be doing him a favor. If it turns out one of his is violating the Masquerade, it would put him in a hell of an awkward position. I mean, he's shitting upside down awkward. It's the kind of weakness the other Primogen would love to exploit. His position on the council is bad as it is.
He pauses for a moment and mumbles to himself, but is too quiet for you to make out. Finally, he lights up a fresh cigar. He takes a puff and lets the smoke escape through his crooked smile.
All right, kid, let's get this over with.
So, for anyone who was paying attention in the finale of Atlanta by Night, we have a Thin Blood Primogen as well, who's a sneaky, sneaky boy, and is very secret. Compared to the industrial ugliness of Red Hook, Sterling Place is quite a change of scenery. Oh, I love this aesthetic, just this whole look. I love this. All right. The heavily gentrified and pleasantly dull residential area emanates this sort of peaceful apathy that rich hipsters scoff at and blue-collar workers dream of. Oh, I am a blue-collar worker. You pronounce literally the best boy wrong. Okay, so Elijah is properly pronounced literally the best boy. I love Elijah. He's one of my favorite NPCs I've ever made. And I don't think y'all have really gotten to why yet, but I really love Elijah. And yes, hard J because I'm weird and I've always pronounced Elijah like that. But I know a lot of people say Elijah, which I default to hard J. I know people have requested official pronunciations and spellings for characters. All of a sudden, the Nosferatu stops. It almost seems like he was taking a deep breath, steeling himself for things to come.
This is the place.
With that, he points to a surprisingly nice-looking two-story house. The place is almost completely dark. Almost. You notice a dim light shining through the curtains of an upper-story window. It's probably safe to assume that the head of the family is working late, especially if the head of the family happens to be a vampire.
Okay, kid. We gotta be gentle about this. I'm talking velvet glove, soft cushion, you rang, my lord, gentle. We need to get Lawson out here without making a fuss or letting his family see us. If we blow this, he'll shut down like a speakeasy on raid night. Trust me, I know.
Sounds like you two have some history.
Sounds about right, but that's a story for another time. Right now, let's stick to why we're here. Tell you what, how about you take the lead on this one? I'm curious to see how you handle it.
Yeah, because you don't want to ring the doorbell, that's why. You take a step back and look around the area. The lit-up window seems like a safe bet. Now it's just a matter of getting Larson's attention. His and no one else's. As you're trying to come up with a viable strategy, you are suddenly startled by a loud noise. It takes you a second to identify the sound as a dog barking. It doesn't take you long to figure out where it came from, as a bearded man leading a Rottweiler on a leash comes into view. We are not going to feed on the poor man walking his dog! No! Should we ring the doorbell or throw a small rock? To be the 80s movie you want to be. Just stand outside with a boombox. No, better yet, ring the doorbell with a sign. To me, you are perfect. Alright. You kneel down and pick a rock off the lawn. Throw small enough to not break the glass, but big enough to get someone's attention. Deftly, you chuck the rock at the window. It bounces off with the glass with a quiet but audible thunk. Moments pass in silence, making you think no one got your message. Just as you start to look for another rock, you hear the window slide open. A very unassuming and slightly unshaven man in a turtleneck appears in the window. As soon as he notices you, his expression sours, like he just smelled something rotten. He addresses your Nosferatu partner in what can only be described as a very loud, very angry whisper. "Get the fuck off my lawn, D'Angelo. You know goddamn better than to show your ugly mug around here." You glance over to D'Angelo. He looks somewhat embarrassed, scratching the back of his neck, clearly trying to find the right angle to play this. We're going to say this is important. Like, buddy, we met before. Edward Norton, Thin Blood Primogen. Alright. We wouldn't have bothered you if this wasn't important. Lamar? Stay where you are. You wait out in the lawn, listening to Larson quietly making his way downstairs. Before long, he appears on the porch, locking the front door behind him. He motions at you to follow him off to the side of the house. There, he turns towards you. What do you want?
It's about the Red Hook murders. We think one of yours is responsible.
Bullshit. A Duskborn's got enough trouble just staying alive out here. What could possibly make them openly violate the Masquerade?
Desperation? The killer's been leaving messages. Whoever they are, I think they know something. Something they can't share with just anyone. I know it seems far-fetched, but it's the only way this puzzle fits together.
Nah, I don't buy it. You're reaching. Trying to find a scapegoat. Get in your boss's good graces. Word gets around, D'Angelo. You think I don't know who you're working for? You know what? We're going to go with the first one. Then help us clear your people's name. What have you got to lose? Everything. I've been a thorn in the council's side for a while now. This is just an excuse. This is just the excuse they need to get rid of me.
What if it turns out one of yours did it and you sat on your hands to protect him? You think the council won't jump on that?
He looks off in the darkness, pondering his options. He lets out a heavy sigh. Look, I'll ask around. Consult my sources. If it turns out one of mine own is responsible, they will face justice. In the meantime, keep your deductions to yourself. I have enough trouble as it is.
Deal.
Good. Now if you'll excuse me, I have to get back to my family. And with that, Larson retreats to the elusive safety of his home. You decide it's best to move along. You walk a couple blocks in utter silence. Even D'Angelo's mumbling seems to have taken a back seat. Oddly enough, you found his newfound reticence somewhat unnerving. Finally, the Nosferatu stops and turns towards you.
Hell of a night. I don't know about you, kid, but I could sure use a drink. Something warm, in a tall, sweaty glass. But first, let me tell you your score. Let's see now. You did make a good first impression. I like someone who can talk themselves out of a tight spot. Talking's cheap. Bullets? Not so much. You held your own at the crime scene. Nothing I hadn't figured out on my own, but hey, we can't all be professionals. Finally, when the situation called for subtlety, you managed to avoid unwanted attention. Discretion is what separates a private dick from just any old dick. All in all, you did fine. Not fine, but not bad for your first case. Don't let it get to your head. I'll be in touch. Let you know if I hear from Larson. Be ready to meet me at the office.
He starts to walk away, but suddenly stops and turns back to you.
And bring a notepad. Every good assistant should have one.
Hey! Ooh, we need to take a nappy nap. That was a quick night. I feel like that was real quick. Yeah, because we need to rest. So let's rest. Oh! There's a lot more options now. Oh, what is this? A nosy reporter. There's a sleazy reporter from a gossip magazine sniffing around Sophie's haven. She could use your help with the problem. Oh, part 2 of Faith and Myth. Benoit Segal wants to meet you again at the cathedral. You wonder whether that mysterious priest will be there. Or we meet the Tremere. Or the person following me. Hope. More with D'Angelo. Or the Gangrel. So what do you guys think? Animal cracker break. Well, I see what you guys think. We just keep stacking up options. I feel like we've been avoiding the Tremere for a while. Let's go see him. You arrive at the address given to you by Sophie, a small bookstore smack dab in the middle of Broadway of all places. What really catches you off guard, though, is the store's display. From what you've heard about the Tremere, they are infamous for their ties to the occult and the mystical. And yet now, looking at the oddball collection of items in the display window, it all feels borderline satirical. The books here cover everything from, Ayurvedic practices and homeopathy to wellness and self-motivation. I clicked too early. You notice a copy of Anton LaVey's Satanic Bible tucked behind a cheap smiling Buddha. A scientific journal on hematology sits next to a teen-oriented pamphlet on the blood-type personality theory. A number of religious and quasi-religious symbols, lockets and pins, and various emblazoned paraphernalia are haphazardly strewn across the display between the tomes. Before you even open the door, you can smell the burning incense and hear the corny Far East tinged music seeping through the crackling speaker mounted above the entrance. It's much more quaint than what you'd expect from what Sophie told you about these so-called warlocks. It doesn't look like they have much interest in impressing outsiders. Then again, if there's anything you've learned these past few nights, it's that appearances can be deceiving. At this time of night, the shop appears to be closed. Regardless, you ring the bell. You hear someone shuffling around inside. A brief moment later, the latch slides and the door is open just a few inches. A tired-looking blonde in loose clothes appears in the crack. She seems confused, like you just woke her up. She lets out a yawn, scratching at her tattooed neck. Finally, she squints in your general direction. Her pierced lip curves into an awkward smile. We're a name-droppy bitch. Stick to the brand. I'm looking for a guy named Agathon. Is he around? The girl gives you a suspicious look over, but opens the door. She takes a few steps back, and you hear footsteps coming from behind a floral curtain that covers the back door. A bespectacled, smart-looking woman emerges and looks straight at you. Ooh. Wife! Wife! Oh. She actually reminds me of my wife. Oh my god. Oh, I love her. Come in and follow me. Just don't touch anything, please. You follow her through the store. Inside, as expected, the stuffy air smells of sandalwood, frankincense, and a dozen other aromas. The woman leads you behind the curtain and through the back door, onto a rickety staircase. Ah, this is so cool! Ah! A flight of steps takes you to the second story. You instantly notice the change in decor as the tacky New Age bookstore gives way to something resembling a cross between a library and a workshop. Oh, this is so cool. Oh, I love this. The smell here is strong too, but much more layered. You're not sure what to make of it at first, but with each whiff, it becomes apparent. Blood. The aroma, though subtle at first, soon becomes overpowering. It takes you a moment to adapt and focus. Ah! Aisling Sturbridge! Oh, we know her name! I don't think you know who you're speaking with, so an introduction is in order. My name is Aisling Sturbridge, and I am the High Regent of the Chantry of the Five Boroughs. You are Lamar, correct? I have to say, you're lucky the ward outside the building is only there for notifications tonight. Otherwise, it would have been quite unpleasant. To answer your question, Agathon is here, but he's hard at work, and I wouldn't want to disturb him. Am I to understand this is a social visit? How do you know who I am? High Regent sounds important. Hiding above an occult bookstore? Really? Why are some of our options so judgy? I need to do a second playthrough and just choose every rude as fuck option and just watch how badly it ruins my life. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious how she knows who I am. I would like a definition of High Regent, please. High Regent? Of the Chantry? Of the Five Boroughs. That's quite a mouthful. It might sound fancy, but that's because there's a well-established tradition behind it. One you'd be wise not to ridicule. Some might take offense. Me, for one. What is it that you're here for? I heard good things about Agathon. I was expecting to find Agathon here, or Sophie mentioned Agathon to me. We've been told not to throw Sophie's name around, but we threw her name around, and it hasn't bitten us in the ass just yet. Yeah, name drop. It's our Bram. Sophie suggested I meet Agathon. She said he's quite knowledgeable. Did she now? Aisling looks you up and down. Her countenance seems unchanged, but you can tell she's judging what you said. That's new. Suddenly a man enters from a side room. He doesn't even look at you, lost in his own thoughts. This is like if Anton grew his hair out. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But this is Anton's cousin. Why all Tremere men look alike? Anton. This is... Don't yell at me in the chat. You are a better dresser, but this is like lecture clothes. I love it. Oh my god. Okay, I gotta compose myself. This is really funny. I have it, Aisling. I think I know how to find it. He catches himself as he notices you. His face turns sour. A visitor? Yes, we were just discussing you, in fact. Is that so? I already said Sophie. So let's just name drop again. Yes, Sophie Langley recommended that I contact you about teaming up. Teaming up? He seems very confused by the notion. What for? I could assist you in your work? I could assist you in your work. I can be quite helpful, knowing I can count on someone to return the favor. Is that right? He seems to consider it, then turns to Aisling. High Regent, may I ask your advice on this? She looks you over, as if judging your worth. It takes her just long enough to make you feel uncomfortable. When she takes her eyes off you, she addresses Agathon. Do you feel like you need assistance in your task, my child? Oh, Agathon's her baby boy!
I am confident I can do it on my own.
He pauses, hesitating for a second.
But I do believe it is important enough to warrant outside help, even if only for a single night.
Another brief moment of hesitation.
Of course, the details would remain between you and I, sire.
Agreed, on all points. Why don't you start by giving our intern here a brief explanation of what it is you're after? Agathon gives Aisling a hesitant look, but the woman nods approvingly. Encouraged, he turns towards you.
A member of our clan disappeared without a trace a handful of nights ago. While the High Regent investigates if any foul play was involved, I have been tasked with recovering her research notes. If there is anything left to recover, that is. I may have an idea of where to start looking, and I suppose this is where you come in. If you truly wish to help, I could use your assistance tonight. Right now, in fact. Given the time we've just wasted on idle chatter, I should leave immediately.
Huh. So there's a Tremere missing. They might need our help finding them. Which option should we choose? Let's see here. We should probably ask who's the missing person. I feel like that's the one that is going to get us the most information. Yeah. All right. And the missing kindred. Who is she? A single glance at Aisling is enough. You can tell you're not getting an answer, at least for now.
We're after her research. That's what you should focus on.
These people aren't in the habit of making things simple. Facing layers upon layers of secrecy, you can only hope that what lies beneath is the real deal.
I'm heading out. Are you coming or not?
Yeah, we're just gonna go. We are a play-along boy. Sure, I'll join you.
Very well.
He gives Aisling a slight bow.
High Regent, with your permission?
She nods. Before you go, however. Lamar, defer to Agathon in all things. Our clan values obedience above everything else. Prove you can follow, and this might turn into a mutually beneficial relationship. I will await his return and his report. Good luck, my child. Agathon bows again and heads out, urging you to follow. The High Regent watches you leave. Outside, Agathon leads you to his car. It's almost funny seeing him get behind a wheel. Somehow you'd expect a more mystical means of transportation. Just, he's one of those horse-drawn carriage operators in Times Square. They're Tremere. They're Clan Tremere. We don't know what house, but they're Clan Tremere. You drive south, heading to the Lower East Side. Agathon seems lost in thought. Either that, or he is a very careful driver. Either way, several minutes pass in silence. This looks like the same frame from when Kadir was driving you. So the High Regent's your sire? He's not going to be one for chit-chat, but I want to try some chit-chat, so let me just try. So where are we going?
Williamsburg. There's a place that our missing colleague frequented.
He seems to be thinking of the right words before he decides to address you again.
Let me ask you something. Why me? There's likely a couple hundred of us kindred in New York, yet you seek me out specifically. Why?
Don't know. Just gave it a shot. Oof. Let's see here. Honestly, let's just compliment him. Sophie did speak highly of him. Yeah. For one, Sophie spoke highly of you. She gave me a short list of people to meet, and you were on it. I see. Once more, he grows silent. You're unsure whether to continue prying as your driver seems to disappear into his thoughts. You drive into Williamsburg and stop by a fancy-looking building. We're here. There's a restaurant on the top floor. You wanted to help, so here's your chance. I need you to get us inside to the VIP lobby. Once we're in, I need about half an hour to focus. And some space. It'll be up to you to keep attention away from the room. Can you do it? He doesn't wait for an answer and points to the front door. Go ahead. I'm right behind you. Ooh, look at this club. So wanky. I like this place. Nobody, literally nobody. Agathon stares intensely in the rearview mirror. Oh, this music's kind of freaking me out. The two of you take the elevator up to the restaurant. The door opens and you see that there are only a few guests left, sitting at their tables. And an important-looking staff member approaches you. I don't like the shadow person. Good evening. I'm very sorry, but the restaurant is closing for the night. I can make a reservation for next week if you wish. We're location scouting. Hey, we're not your regular customers. In fact, we're location scouting. For a movie. We'll just take a quick look around and we're gone. No, I'm sorry. We're not interested in being featured in a movie. I'll have to ask you to look somewhere elsewhere. I would suggest Smith and Walensky or the 21 Club. Damn it. This is an outrage. Okay, I do feel like we need to use presents. Oh, this is where you get embraced in the Ventrue route. Oh. Nice. This feels very Ventrue. I like it. Yeah, let's go with presents. Hey, it's all good. We can come in. We'll be in the VIP lobby. It won't take long. The man blinks. A confused smile appears on his face. Yes, of course. Not a problem. Please come right in. I had to mute so I could cough. You walk in, trying to look casual, and make your way towards the VIP lobby. You step inside and close the door behind you. It's a nice place, very highbrow, lots of old, expensive-looking furniture, and private rooms to discuss any sordid business one discusses when you're that rich. Your companion looks at you with something akin of admiration, or at least that's how you choose to interpret the slight change in his usual somber facade. Not bad. Not bad at all. He inspects the room. It's unusually cold, and Agathon soon discovers why. Looking behind the curtain, a window hangs open. The handle and lock look like they've been dissolved, as if with acid. Corrosive vitae? God damn it, Juno. Who's Juno? How about I tell you some other time? God damn it, fucking Tremere. Tremere always so spooky. He takes a frantic look around the room. This changes things. Keep an eye on the door. I'll need some time. Half an hour at the very least. Nobody disturbs me, understand? He hastily pushes a couch and some potted plants out of the way, moves a bar stool and takes out a curved knife. Cutting into his own arm, he lets some of his blood drip onto the wooden floor. It's pretty fucked up the way his flesh oozes the deep red, thick vitae. In life, you'd have found it stomach churning, but right now you feel weirdly turned on by the sight. What follows is more disturbing yet. You're like, fear boner. With one hand, he sheaths the knife and seals the wound. With the other, he smears the blood around him while muttering some weird chant. It sounds vaguely Latin, but you're pretty sure it isn't. I just get a kick out of it sounds Latin, but it isn't. It's all more than a little disconcerting. But he seems to know what he's doing. A few moments later, the circle starts glowing faintly as thin wisps of smoke surround Agathon. He sits down in the middle, legs crossed, eyes closed. Minutes pass. Agathon's face twitches from time to time, as his head turns every now and then, as if he were looking around or listening in on a conversation. The smoke grows thicker, forming a veil around the mage. You expected something more flashy, but it's still a sight to behold. You wonder what the point of it is, but refrain from asking. It's probably best to let Agathon do his thing. For close to 30 minutes, you're left with your own devices. Then suddenly, the door opens slightly, and the manager leans into the room. You tense up for a second, but he just gives you an awkward smile. Anything you need? You shoo him away before he can take a closer look at your companion, and he retreats obediently. 2 minutes later, Agathon casually gets up off the floor and walks over to the sofa. Puts his hand between the cracks in the upholstery and fishes something out, then turns to you and nods. We're done here. Let's go. You make your way back to the elevator, passing the manager on your way out. He gives you a slight, somewhat confused smile, but neither him nor any of his staff get in your way. Despite that, the elevator ride down feels tense, and the two of you only relax once inside Agathon's car. He starts the engine and takes you right to the Continental Army Plaza, back onto the bridge. Sorry, that Ruby Mirror stare gets me every time. You're just about to say something, but he beats you to it. That went better than I expected, all things considered. Sorry, I think doing that voice for Agathon's what's making me cough. So we're just going to read his lines normal. It might have been a trick of the light, but you're pretty sure you just saw him smile. I'm used to working alone, but what I'm dealing with right now, it might require some more assistance, and you seem capable enough. Thanks, I guess. Gee, thanks. I take it that's your... this is so rude! Why do visual novels be like that? They trick me. You could swear you just made him smirk. You did fine. Once you really impress me, I'll be sure to let you know. It doesn't take you long to reach the warlock's hideout. Agathon waves at you absent-mindedly, once again lost in his thoughts. Hopelessly so. One of these nights, you should probably take him up on his offer. Who knows? If you gain his trust, maybe you can actually break through his stoic facade and meet the man underneath. Okay, so we got time for one more before we have to rest. So... which one do you guys think we should do? I kind of want to see Hope again. But I am biased. I'm going to let you guys give me some ideas on what to do. Go back to Snurch. We have no idea who's following us yet, but I kind of want to drag that out. Let's do the church one more time, just in case it's just a two-parter. Y'all can tell me if you've played this before. I think it might just be a two-parter. So let's see if we can wrap this up. You started to look at churches differently since your last encounter with Benoit. You're not sure what happened inside, but it was unavoidably real. You felt it. When Benoit mentioned that being in the presence of Father Anthony's faith would eventually kill someone like you, an undead being, you believed him. It doesn't seem to be very common, though. In New York, you pass thousands of people every night, and none of them have made you feel so afraid and insignificant. If you were to encounter someone like Father Anthony in the subway or a nightclub, you would know. There are many churches in the 5 boroughs, and you're pretty sure most of them don't contain someone whose faith can touch you in this way, yet you've become wary. They just might. Still tonight, the cathedral looks as before, a striking landmark acting as a symbol of faith for people who have no idea that vampires exist in their midst. I love true faith so much. It's such a cool thing. For them, questions of faith and myth are theoretical or philosophical. For you, those same questions suddenly define the meaning of your new existence. You sneak into the cathedral like an old hand, as if going to church like was a regular part of your life, or had been a regular part of your life. Inside the cathedral is almost deserted. You're not sure if you'll be meeting Benoit alone. The idea of feeling Father Anthony's faith on your undead flesh freezes you in terror. Benoit is waiting for you in the front pews of the cathedral in the exact same spot where you saw Father Anthony. Worried, you approach, but you don't feel the touch of faith that shook you before. Benoit nods as you sit next to him in the pew. I thought a lot about our last meeting. There's so many questions, and I'm not sure where I can find the answers. I can tell you some things, but you'll grow dissatisfied with me and want to find answers on your own. That quest will never end. You've had some time to think. I'm guessing you found the touch of Father Anthony's faith hard to ignore. For most people, God's presence is a question of faith. When I talk with Father Anthony, it feels like proof. Benoit is fervent, intense as he speaks. It's clear these questions have consumed his existence. Perhaps they'll consume yours too. Oh. These are some intense choices. I can't stop thinking about divine purpose. This is kindred culture, or what does the Camarilla believe? Let's ask what the Camarilla believes. What do the kindred of the Camarilla believe? The old ones. It's true the elders are not always so good at teaching their childer. Maybe the Camarilla would function better if we all knew these stories. Benoit looks around reflexively to make sure nobody is listening. There are only a few people in the enormous cathedral, and they don't seem to be interested in 2 loners murmuring to each other in the front pew. It might seem like ancient history, things that happened thousands of years ago, but time works differently for our kind. Ah! If the stories are true, there are Methuselahs, still in existence, who walked the earth when Jesus was alive. Real quick, we're going to jump to the definition of Methuselahs. Oh, we got a couple others. So, regent. Every chantry has a regent. The regent is responsible for the tutelage of all other Tremere in the domain. While the regent may not teach them personally, she must ensure all Tremere are being educated. The regent's other duties extend to the clan's protection in the domain, and sometimes its representation on the Primogen Council. So often for Tremere, Primogen and regent are the same. Sometimes they're two people, but in Atlanta, Proctor is the regent and the Primogen. Chantry, the traditional name for a Tremere headquarters in a city, usually part shelter, part library, part laboratory. There is a chantry in Atlanta, but we haven't covered it yet. Methuselah. A vampire who has existed for a millennium or more, an elder who no longer participates in kindred society. Methuselahs are rumored to hail from the 4th and 5th generations. So remember last time we said 3rd generation is where all the clans began from. So like Malkav is the head of Malkavian. So Methuselah would be someone who is the child of Malkav. Or his direct child. So you get 1 and 2 generations down from the people who started the clans. That's a Methuselah. And they are spooky. The only problem is that old vampires lie. They adjust history to suit their egos. You can talk to different elders. Surely something was written down. Let's focus on what we can verify. Let's see. Perhaps if you talk to a few different elders. They're not very forthcoming, unfortunately. We're left to piece these stories together on our own. This is how the story goes. God cursed Cain as punishment for the murder of Abel. Cain walked the night, shunned by humanity, and drank blood to sustain himself. Even from the point of our origin, we are damned. However, the story becomes really interesting when we move forward. Cain creates more of our kind, often referred to as the 2nd generation. Oh, so there's generation, like what I was talking about. Generation, the number of steps between a vampire and the mythical Cain, how far descended from the first a given vampire is. Low generation provides great power just as it does a stronger curse and hunger. So yeah, being a lower generation number, so like, if you're a 7th generation, you're way more powerful than like a 13th generation. But all of the negatives of being a vampire are that much stronger as well. So it's kind of, as you go down in generations, the blood dilutes and dilutes and dilutes until you get thin bloods, which are usually 15th, 16th generation, I believe. Different people say different things about when the thin bloods start. They lived in the first city, later called Enoch, ruling openly over the city's human inhabitants. I see the first city as Cain's redemption. Cursed by God to wander, he remade himself as a ruler and lawgiver, acting as an immortal shepherd to humanity. It only started to go wrong when the 2nd generation begat the 3rd, and vampires started to run amok. So the 3rd generation? Mm-hmm. What happened to the first city? Let's ask about the first city, because I know what the 3rd generation is, and I want to hear about the first city. What happened to the first city? It was lost in the deluge. Noah had his ark to save him, but our kind had to rely on the gifts of blood. If you're skeptical about this piece of history, remember that even a local flood can bring massive destruction. After the first city, Cain largely departs the story. Perhaps he was disheartened by the depredations of his descendants. The antediluvians went on to build a 2nd city in imitation of the first, but it's doubtful the rule was just. Antediluvians! Sorry, y'all, I'm a coffee girl now. I'm so close to being done with being sick. Overall, I feel completely fine, but I'm like on that tail end. So thank y'all for sticking with me through the, almost 3 weeks of sickness. When I get my allergies or sinus infections, it's so bad. It lasts for so long. After the first city, Cain largely... so antediluvians. Let's get that. The progenitors, members of the dreaded 3rd generation and founders of the 13 vampire clans. So Malkav, of Clan Malkavian, is an antediluvian. I won't say any more about antediluvians, because I think it might be about to explain it. There are people moving in the cathedral, and both you and Benoit have made sure not to get close enough. Have made sure none get close enough to hear you talk. As Benoit goes on, your undead senses detect something that deviates from the normal hubbub of devout mortals, cathedral workers, and tourists. You hear the squeaking wheels of an old wheelchair that hasn't been taken out too often. We've been doing this for 20 years, and still you pull stuff like this, Michael. Why did you bring your sister? We're on the field. There's no place for the disabled. The voice is that of an older man, Midwestern. Oh, I can't do a Midwest accent that well. He sounds exasperated, as if he was rehashing an argument for the 100th time. She wanted to come. She doesn't get out of the house very often. Besides, you should be grateful, Bobby. We would have never found our new partners without her. The second voice belonged to an old man. It's more intense and still holds echoes of a Russian accent. Yes, because she talked about vampires online. You got your door busted in by the FBI, as I remember. We did, sure. But we cleared the misunderstanding, and now we're consultants. So quit your griping. Bobby, Michael, play nice. You sound like an old couple. Oh, whoops. The third voice is a heavier Russian accent and belongs to an older woman. All three have clearly known each other for a long time. Let's find Father Anthony and see if he can help us. From what I've heard, he's an exceptional man. Yeah, exceptional. But he doesn't like moles. You nudge Benoit and discreetly point to 3 people approaching you along the cathedral's central aisle. He nods in understanding. This is bad news, whoever these 3 are. We need to get out. Let's meet outside. We cannot use... Yeah, there's too many NPCs. I'm confusing voices. Man 2 is Midwestern. Man 3 is Russian. And the woman is Russian. We're going to move discreetly to the side. If we use celerity... So I have suspicion that these people are Second Inquisition. And if we use celerity, they're going to catch us so quick. So, better not to call attention to yourself. You decide to move to the side of the cathedral and pretend to pray at an altar. You walk casually towards the side, away from the 3 approaching mortals. You feel their eyes boring into your back, but you force yourself to be cool. Benoit is nowhere to be seen. You blinked and he disappeared in a burst of speed. You're worried it was too conspicuous, but maybe the mortals missed it. You pretend to admire the architecture for a while before glancing back at the trio. They have settled at the exact spot you just occupied, apparently waiting for something and conversing in hushed tones. Once you're sure their attention is elsewhere, you start walking briskly down the side aisle towards the exit. That was a close call. Oh, if there isn't a man 3, then yes, I fucked up the voices. Whoopsie. So, who the fuck were those 3? Fuck you, Benoit. You were quite fast. Alright, who were those 3? Who were those 3? Did you recognize them? I might have. I'm not sure. There's talk of a few tenacious vampire hunters living in the city. One of them is supposed to be a woman in a wheelchair. Oh wait, one of them, the one in the wheelchair is a woman? They did not describe who was who very well. Okay. That was more confusing from writing than it was anything else. For a second, Benoit looks at you as if he was wondering whether he should say something. There's one thing I've always wondered about the story of Cain. The traditions of the Camarilla put a lot of faith in the relationship between sire and child. You're supposed to follow the example of your maker, yet Cain didn't really seem to care for the vampires he embraced. Did he think it was a mistake to create our kind? Well, my sire left me. We should make our own way in the world, or do kindred care what Cain thinks? I think we should make our own way. I really do. That's me personally, but we'll see. We should make our own way, we should make our own way in the world. All this talk of Cain, sires, and childer makes me think we're bound to the hierarchy forever.
We are, my friend, we are. Unless you want to go anarch. You know, I'm Sophie's child, and you're her protege. It's amazing that we share an appreciation for the mythologies of our kind, considering Sophie has little earnest in questions of the spirit.
Aw, we're siblings! This is my stepbrother. Everyone meet my stepbrother, Benoit. He's weird. You stare at Benoit. You knew there was something he wasn't telling you, but in all the talk about Cain and the first city, you forgot about it. Now the only question is, what does this mean? Does Sophie know her child is talking to you? Probably not. Don't hold it against me, but I admit finding some pleasure in seeing you suffer the effects of Father Anthony's faith. I suppose that's the demon in me. That's just called Schadenfreude. Let's see.
That's not cool.
Older Russian man, Midwestern man, old Russian lady in a wheelchair. Okay, thank you for the clarification. Yeah, it really should have been worded better. Or, like, describe who's about to talk before they talk. Let's just say that's not cool. Like, I don't want to start a fight with my stepbrother. I didn't want to say fuck you. Fuck you. That was not okay. Do that again and I'll make sure you regret it.
You'll get over it.
You know, we should meet again. We've talked so much about myth, but maybe that's cowardly when you realize with the reality of faith is right in front of us. I'll introduce you to Father Anthony. You nod, unsure whether that's a good idea. Benoit walks away, and you follow his example, not wanting to hang around the cathedral any longer. Alright. Oh, we gotta take a nappy nap. Time for a nap. Kadir al-Ismai, the sheriff of New York City, is knocking at the door to your haven. Oh no. Get you a weirdly intense French stepbrother who takes you to meet old men who could kill you. The sight comes as more than a little shocking. If he had business with you, you'd either expect to see him already inside or never see him coming at all. Yet there he is, on the other side of the peephole, patiently and politely waiting for you to let him in. Kadir's just like... You carefully unlock the door and face him in silence. Evening. May I come in? You simply stare at him. Your lack of an answer doesn't faze him, and your lack of resistance as he starts walking inside has obviously been interpreted as permission. Once inside, he starts looking around as you cautiously stay by the door. Haven't really had time to make this place your own yet, have you? Feels like Langley's apartment through and through. A secluded study where nobody studies anything. That's a read. Look at the books on this shelf, obviously meant to impress guests, not to be read. They reveal nothing about their owner, aside from the aching desire to be taken seriously as an intellectual. He picks one of them up and smirks before putting it away. The phenomenology of the spirit, next to all of this garbage poetry. We can make a bet. If she's read more than 20 pages, I owe you $50 and a gallon of blood. The kind of place that self-professed hermits entomb themselves in to suffer. Considering how much you have to run around these nights, you probably only use it to shelter from sun and rest, right? Even though he's obviously making an effort to come off as non-threatening, it's impossible to forget the first impression he made. You still see him as a fierce predator, trying hard not to expose his true colors. You sense a familiar fight-or-flight response as you struggle to find a diplomatic answer to his last question. If Kadir is bothered by your silence, he doesn't let it show. He keeps walking around, toying with whatever catches his eye. Eventually, he speaks up again. Watch any baseball lately? If I had to guess, you'd strike me as a Red Sox fan. Now he's inviting you to talk in a more direct manner. You attempt to overcome your physical reaction to him and reply as casually as you can. Oh my god. Everyone yelling 3. Okay. We'll go with 3. Your mind keeps going back to that night when everything was changed forever. Waking up in hell with a body next to you, spending a night in that underground sweatbox, unsure of what will happen next, that endless car ride. 3 strikes, a bloodthirsty crowd, that blade. A rebirth, a baptism by fire, a frightening executor who made sure the flames scarred your spirit. As you look into his face, you realize he's read the emotions from yours. Not in the mood to exchange pleasantries, There's no animosity in your voice, or in his voice. He's just stating a fact. Let me get straight to the point then. He momentarily stops caring about his surroundings, turning all of his attention to you, and demanding the entirety of your attention in return. You see, there's something I've realized over the years. In large part, I may have been hired just to look menacing with a sword, but my job is all about seeing through bonds and relationships. It's more in-depth, sheriff conversation than you normally get. The Camarilla would be safe as long as its members adhered to certain social contracts, making their dealings and affinities plain for everyone to see. But that, obviously, remains a pipe dream. This is a community born of conspirators, overly ambitious gangsters and politicians, monsters in denial, all sorts of tragically broken individuals. They are driven by desires that make them incompatible with the Masquerade, incompatible with prolonged survival of the Camarilla, incompatible with the methods I use to operate. And so, I am doomed to be like a cop, constantly insulted behind my back, maybe for good reason, but immediately called for help whenever someone loses their tableware. Or like an Agatha Christie protagonist. I love Agatha Christie. Outwardly assisted by everyone, but constantly lied to about everyone's pasts and motivations, even if my failure to solve the mystery might be the end of us all. He tries to sound like he's peacefully resigned to his fate, but it's easy to detect a tinge of regret in his voice, a voice belonging to someone who once had bigger ambitions than his. What broke him? So you see, for this detective, the why done it is far more important than the who done it or the how done it. When you understand all the players and their mutual obligations, you easily understand every crime. But of course, the kindred know it, so they devise ways to make my job much harder, just like conspiracies between 2 unrelated actors that depend on scratching each other's backs for mutual security. Or they enforce a blood bond to make someone unexpected their thrall, a boss serving their employee, a rebel serving a tyrant, just because one is regularly being forced to drink another's blood. So let's quickly get the definition of blood bond. A mystical enforced relationship between a vampire and another, mortal or kindred. Drinking the blood of a vampire directly from the vein 3 times creates an intense loyalty in the drinker, resembling infatuation or obsession. The blood loses its grip with time, but it's reinforced by repeated drinks from the donor vampire. So if you drink from another vampire or a mortal drinks from that vampire 3 times, they are bonded. One of the curses of Clan Tremere is that they can't do that. They can't blood bond. For being good with a sword, he has a hard time getting to the point. Oh my god. I swear, this chat makes this game like 10 times more fun. What has Sophie seen in you? Why does the prince keep asking me about your actions? How come you're being pushed to build your own coteries so fast? You are surrounded by unclear motivations, which you yourself don't understand. That unnerves me, and it should unnerve you as well. Oh, and what are your motivations? Finally, you manage to raise your voice. Kadir notices the effort and smiles softly. So you haven't gone mute since the last time I saw you. Good. Well, I'm here for a selfish reason. I need to develop a rapport with you to better fulfill my obligations. The last time we met, I couldn't see you as my equal. Now that you have been accepted into the Camarilla, what choice do I have? I'd understand if you didn't want to see my face again, but I'm one of the faces of the New York City community, and as long as you're a part of it, it's going to be impossible to avoid me. Especially when I have business with you, and I do. As you might have guessed by now, one of my tasks is uncovering and understanding your bonds. One of them might endanger our community. Well, that's not menacing at all. Who's he talking about? Someone from my coterie? You mean someone I'm trying to recruit into my coterie? Kadir shakes his head. I'm monitoring them, and they know it. If they're breaking the rules, they're doing it the right way, meaning I haven't learned about it yet. Unless you might want to share something. A moment of awkward silence. Joking, mostly. He produces a file from underneath his coat and passes it to you. This is our troublemaker. You open the file and see some printed photos. You freeze up as you recognize the face and are overwhelmed by a flood of repressed memories. Oh no! Oh no! No, 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 no! Oh no! Oh no. Emma. The only person who's kept you hanging on all these years. The only person you have in your corner in the never-ending fight against the world. You've kept your shit together so far. Try not to think about her until you got everything sorted out. But seeing her face brings a lump in your throat. You look up at Kadir, expecting answers. I'll be frank. At first I thought you were a total commercial failure. Someone destined to eventually disappear from the streets of New York without a trace or one soul to care. But it looks like your sister is the best guardian one could ask for. Lots of friends in high places and lots of favors to collect. The word is, she'll do anything to get you back. The risk of endangering us is relatively low, but far from non-existent, which means your sister must be stopped. Must be stopped sounds threatening. You dread thinking what she's planning. Or what he's planning. Ooh. Sorry, I'm like all ruffled. I'll arrange for you two to meet tomorrow so that you can straighten the situation out and say goodbye to the life you've forsaken. He'll arrange what? Your eyes must look like saucers right now. Usually, these matters are left to my discretion, and I can't think of an easier solution. The lost sheep reappears, takes care of unfinished business, and then disappears, never to be seen again. Nobody cares. It's simple, it's clean, no contrived schemes, no unnecessary victims. And it gives me an opportunity to learn more about you as I observe. When neonates interact with kine they used to hold dear, their true natures are laid bare for everyone to see. Of course he's invested in being kind to you, or he's making his clear self-serving intentions so that you don't start figuring them out yourself. Let's real quick jump to definitions. Neonate. A young kindred, recently embraced, but more than a fledgling. So fledgling is like right when you're born. Neonate is when you're still a babby, but you're not quite freshborn. So difference between like newborn and baby. So neonate is baby. It needs to be a new thing. Neonate is baby. Any objections? Any alternatives are probably worse. You shake your head. Very well. I'll arrange a meeting and drive you there tomorrow. Better come up with a loaded bull that's easy to swallow. He disappears from the apartment, leaving you as confused as the last time he closed the door on you. God damn it. You need to think it through. Oh, poor Emma. For a long time, you sit in your haven, lost in your thoughts, trying to come up with lies that will convince the only person who's ever seen the real you. And yeah, neonates can be kind of old. They can be like up to 100, but it's how you're viewed. So you're still viewed as baby. And you haven't really gone through like the becoming typically, which is when you're released from kind of like the responsibility of your sire. Oh, we're still at midday. All right, we gotta pick the next thing we're gonna do. We haven't gone to see Tam. I want to go see Hope again. So when you get to the internet cafe, Hope is already waiting out front. The sight catches you off guard. A part of you suspected that she might be more of a shut-in. My haven is my castle type. God, I love her. Just look at all these tattoos. Look at them. I love the whatever this is. It says wolf and the moon man. It's a moon dog. I love it. I fixed the mute. I'm trying to mute it when I cough so you guys don't get that nastiness. She doesn't wait for your response and jumps behind the wheel of a lavender vintage roadster instead. Ooh, nice, Hope. Nice. The engine starts roaring expectedly, causing everyone's heads to turn. Not wanting to attract needless attention, you quickly slip into the back seat of the car. The moment you shut the door behind you, the vehicle sets off, tires screeching. And I think I was saying, but my mic was off, I'm not doing voices for all her personalities. That's too much. Screen name 0 to 100 real quick. Sorry for not bringing you up to speed first, but hey, this is NYC. Everyone's already in a rush, and this is more true, even more true when you're kindred. I like the little kitty hanging from the window. The inside of this car is amazing. Hope has got severe taste. I love it. Every single inch of this car is decorated. Now, allow me to take care of some business, and I'll be right with you. Don't text and drive, Hope. Even as she's zooming through traffic, she's still on her phone, of course. Watch the road, please. I'm not going to scold her. I have a feeling she's done this more than a few times. Business. How do you make a living in this city? It's a long story. Do you really want to hear it? Before you manage to answer, she starts talking. So, another extremely online Malk based in New York goes by the name of Dev Null, told me to Google Ethereum a few years ago. That's how I got into Bitcoin. And I found a new religion, 23-year-olds selling visions of government thoughts, replaced by benign code and decentralized consensus. Masses ruled by algorithms as just as the law of physics. Idiot man-child investors trying to shape their realities through sheer fanatical zeal, and dedicated collectors of things as abstract as rare SHA 256 decryptions. This is so much. Her driving style is far more aggressive and dangerous than you're comfortable with. Is it just you, or does she peek into the rearview mirror more often than she looks straight ahead? I'm sure at least one of Hope's personalities is watching the road. Hoping? A hyper-speculative environment where nothing has real value, only abstract beliefs matter, and your life savings could be ruined by a single bullshit tweet. How could I refuse the allure? I started buying low and selling high on a variety of shady 24/7 exchanges that allowed me with 100 times leverage, as in, they'd lend me 100 times the capital I could bet with. I got lucky at the beginning and kept the ball rolling, shorting and longing, impulsively, recklessly. I got to the point where I became too big to fail, and that's when I cashed out. The car comes to an abrupt halt. You bump against the seat in front of you. It's like she slams and you're like... Pfft. Okay, are we here? Okay, this story will be continued later. We're here, right at our first stop. I need you to do me a favor. What favor? Favor? What favor? Nothing too difficult. Literally a jump in, jump out kind of deal. See that weird guy in the Yankees cap standing around the corner? Approach him. Tell him you're... I don't know if something's missing or if that's supposed to be that way. Take the phone he gives you and bring it here. Get going, honey. It's illegal to park here. You jump out the car and approach the man Hope has pointed out. Not a lot you can tell about him based on his appearance, aside from the fact he seems pretty shady. A guy assumes a comically threatening pose as you approach him. Oh, tell him that's your screen name. Okay. The hell do you want? I'm at young hot petite ingenue. I'm at young hot petite ingenue. Oh, no offense, but I kind of expected a girl. I mean, no, yeah, my bad for assuming. Damn. He takes a phone out of his pocket and covertly passes it to you. Everything has been prepared and preloaded according to your instructions. Should take about 2 minutes to transfer the data. Now get out of here. The man walks away with an exaggerated hip-hop gait. You jump back into Hope's car. She immediately steps on the gas. You got the phone? You're the best. Pass it to me, please. She connects the two smartphones using a cable and begins some sort of data transfer. She's taking all his Pokemon. Who else here is old enough to remember link cables? Looks like it's an identical model. After a minute or so, the process is complete. Alright, goodbye, lovely. You've served me well. Hope opens the car window, grabs her old phone. You're not expert enough to recognize the exact model, but it definitely looks like it had an $800 price slapped on it, and tosses it out the window. Surprised, you look behind and see a car in the opposite lane run over the abandoned device. Hope notices your quizzical look. Off the grid lifestyle. I've been needing a lot of burner phones lately, and I'm not going to use some cheap piece of shit, so it's a pretty expensive necessity. Intersection, red light. She takes advantage of the moment to shoot a driving selfie that strategically excludes her face and upload it to Instagram. You notice her handle there is Versace. I think it's supposed to be Versace Beauty, but Versace Beauty. Now, I was telling you a story. Oh yeah, that was when she cashed out. Cashing out. Right. At some point towards the end of 2017, I became convinced I needed to cash out. There's no way the bubble was going to last forever. I always knew there would be no grapes of wrath for cryptocurrency era. It would have to be a series of profoundly antisocial, disconnected events. The whole crypto culture was a decentralized church of lone millennials who rejected all established modern values and kept atoning for the original sin of not buying Bitcoin back in 2013. Oh yeah, the Showgirls reference, got it. Another abrupt last-second turn. You are pressing against the window. What the hell is it with her driving style? So, quick story. At the last-second turn, a bunch of us went out to a bar, and the gentleman who plays Anton was so kind to drive us all home. So there were 4 drunk women in the car, and he took a sharp turn, and we all, R2-D2 screamed as we slid. Just 4 drunk women going, "Wah!" And that's what I'm imagining you doing right now. But a life you never wanted to live anyway, and get a chance to win a priceless pile of nothing. Untether yourself from all worldly desires. Find joy in suicidal ideation. To this day, money holds no real value for me. It's as abstract as a video game score. Bunch of numbers on the screen. This joyless world changed me forever. I knew I had to escape. So I took my piles of fictional dollars to a new arena. Elite NYC social circles. Not because I wanted to scam them and make more, but because I wanted to finally have some goddamn fun. One second. Seems we have a bit of a troll in our chat. Mods, if you could help me, I seem to be having a problem with getting rid of this person. Oh, here we go. There we go. Done. Yeah, this scene oddly is a perfect time to get a spam bot. I love it. I mean, of course I had to scam them in the process, but it was only in service of becoming something more than a star, a constellation. Another abrupt stop, this time next to the entrance of a shifty-looking back alley. Leaky gut syndrome. Alright, friend. This time you're at leaky gut syndrome. Whistleblower extraordinaire. Whenever a press sneak fuck wants a leak, you've got it. Got it? Sorry for putting you out there in my place, but I only personally contact people as a last resort. It gets harder to protect my identity each time I show my face. And since I've got you, our man is waiting for you in this back alley. He's paying back a favor with a flash drive containing crucial information we need to stay safe in the city. Retrieve it. I will circle the area, make sure you aren't in danger right now. When you're done, get back here and I'll pick you up. Everything clear? Good. You exit the car and see it drive away in a hurry, then head into the narrow passageway. Sure enough, there's a man waiting for you at the end of the back street. Unshaven, wearing wrinkled clothes with a nervous eye tick. He looks even dodgier than the last guy you met. When you approach, he gives you a mean look. You lost or something? I'm at leaky gut syndrome. You said you got a little something that might interest me? Of course. Straight to the point, aren't you? All right, then. Clumsily, he produces a USB stick from his front shirt pocket and holds it before your face. When you reach out to take it, he pulls it back and gives you a slight grin. Getting all this data was risky, you know. Miss Montgomery is an unusually secretive person. Digging up dirt on her took more effort than I expected. Effort that should be rewarded, I think. The more you ask around about her, the more you expect a letter saying, "Give up your inquiries, which are completely useless." Yeah, there's a shadow animation across the wall. It's freaking me out. Oh, there it goes again. Perhaps attached to a severed cat head. You catch my drift? The secrecy surrounding her screams friends in high places, brave new world order, Illuminati shit, you know? Makes me think I deserve some hazard pay. Let's refuse and bluff him. Oh, 2? We should start walking away. I feel like he would just let us leave. But okay, we'll start walking away. Try to imagine what Hope would do if she were in your place. Then you simply turn around and start walking back where you came from. Calmly, wordlessly, no negotiations. Just as you're about to walk out of his sight, you hear an annoyed grunt behind you. All right. Shouldn't have put you on the spot like that. My bad, okay? Get back here. You turn around and look at the journalist expectantly. He sighs and extends the hand holding a flash drive towards you again. You take it. Oh yeah, one more thing. Not really sure what it's about, but one of my informants claims you might be interested in this. He reaches into his inner jacket pocket and presents you with something wholly unexpected. It's a bag of blood, labeled simply ABRH negative. You take a closer look, but that doesn't answer any of the questions that just appeared in your mind. You peek into the journalist's cold blue eyes and see them twitch uncontrollably. Don't ask me. They said you'd know what to do with it. Leaky gut. Come on, take it. Drink his blood. Fuck this guy. No, we're not going to do that. We'll just accept it. Fine, I'll take it. You grab the bag. Anything else? Yeah, I don't think so. Thanks for your cooperation. Another eye twitch and an awkward silence. You hide the blood bag under your clothes and leave the alley the way you came. Hope's car appears around the corner just as you walk out onto the street. It doesn't even fully stop when you approach, but slows down just enough so that you can jump in. The moment you close the door, she leans into the gas pedal with her full strength, causing the engine to roar. Her driving style definitely doesn't reflect how laid back she seems as a person. We got it? You throw the flash drive into the seat next to her. Perfect. Any problems? How'd the meeting go? You relate the entire back alley encounter to her. Toward the end of the story, you notice she's not staring at the road or her phone, but directly at your face. The realization startles you. You've got that bag of blood with you? You place it on the seat next to her. She peeks at the label. She looks at it again. Then she steps on the brakes. Fuck! Uh-oh. I'm okay. She grabs both the bag and the flash drive you've obtained and throws them out the window. Looks like that's her favorite method of taking care of problems. That bag was a message. AB negative used to be my blood type. It's the rarest one, found in less than 1% of the US population. Glad you didn't drink it. Who knows what they've done to that bag? Some NYC vets can tell you wild stories about using irradiated blood to locate and kill other kindred. Oh, fuck. Fuck. Seriously? Glad I didn't drink from him. Better safe than sorry, yeah. Still, I wonder if they would have done anything to his blood. That would be some kind of 5-dimensional chess move. But yeah, this contact is compromised and needs to be cut off. Goodbye, my journalist frenemy, and goodbye, dear at Leaky Gut Syndrome. You've both outlived your usefulness. After a brief period of hesitation, she deletes the whistleblower extraordinaire account and sighs. Bloody Mary and Adderall. Oh, God. Another one bites the dust. I've got another story to finish. I was talking about Bitcoin, and then where did I stop? Constellation, I think, is actually where she stopped. Becoming a constellation. Oh, right. You know who saw the real face of the city? Anna Delvey. Ever heard of her? A Russian working class girl, born as Anna Sorokin. She moved to New York in 2013 and convinced everyone that she was this insanely rich trust fund kid, a wealthy German heiress. Manhattan elites totally fell for it, and they bought it for years while she swindled them. She only got arrested in 2017 after having stolen almost $300,000. Sorokin created her Delvey persona out of thin air, convinced everyone that she was going to set up an art fund, and kept tasting all of life's finest pleasures while being basically broke. She even made up a fake family financial advisor, then killed him off when he became a liability. And apparently, most of her rich victims never admitted to being scammed out of shame. By now you're sure the way she scrutinizes her surroundings, her reckless driving, she's trying to escape somebody. Now, Delvey's locked up with murderers and Rikers, writing her memoirs, apparently picking a lot of fights, bless her heart. She'll forever be an inspiration. But I have more advantages than she ever did. I have my own considerable funds, and I can rely on many more made-up people than just some old-ass financial advisor. A whole bunch of fake content creators and influencers that every rich dumbass wants to get in touch with and collaborate. Makes it super easy to earn more money than I invest. You've seen it firsthand, both as a deceiver and as the deceived. In a city of illusions, maybe non-existent money come up with a fictional status, play nonsensical Camarilla games. And one day, you might just find yourself at the top. Alright, we're reaching our last stop. Good God, we're just helping Hope run errands today. You look around, you've come up on a parking garage. You're going to take an elevator to the 70th floor. Give the masked man you meet in the front door this memory card. It contains art house movie I made. Oh, they're making a Netflix series out of that chick? That's awesome. Art house movie? What do you mean by art house? You've seen me rehearse it in my haven, you know what I mean? You didn't think I was doing that just for show, did you? I found some filthy rich Manhattan pervs who will pay a fortune for a convincing vampire cam show. I don't need money, but their IT industry connections gave me an idea. When we give them this memory card, we'll gain access to tech that should allow us to take on my biggest enemy in the city. So your nickname this time is going to be a crash. You're momentarily dazed and can't immediately understand what happened. The first thing you know for sure is, if you were still a normal human being, you'd be dead for sure. Fuck. Oh. And we're in a parking deck. Oh! I don't know if you guys saw it, but there was somebody who walked by just a second ago. I'm sure with it being a dynamic background, it'll happen again. It just scared the shit out of me. Oh, so we just got in a car wreck. Oh, there he goes again. Okay. You replayed the last few seconds in your head. The other car appeared out of nowhere and crashed into Hope's vehicle at the maximum speed it was able to achieve in this closed-off space. The driver had already managed to kick open the mangled door next to him, stumble out of his seat. Now he wordlessly approaches the trunk and takes a large caliber silenced pistol out of it. He starts approaching the lavender wreck of Hope's car, obviously ready to finish the job that he started. You have to be fast and violent. It's you or him now. Alright, we're gonna outrun his gun or attack. Outrun his gun feels like you're gonna try and escape, but I don't want to escape. I want to defend Hope. Okay, we're gonna attack him. I think. No? Or should we outrun? Oh, you guys help me decide. I don't know. Yeah, if you run, you leave Hope behind, and she's supposed to be in our coterie, so we're gonna attack. Your instinct takes over. You don't come up with a strategy or a optimal route. You simply start running towards the gunman, yelling. For a split second, he's completely dumbfounded. Then he opens fire. Oh, I am hungry. The bullets put a brief stop to your sprint. You're engulfed in pain, your flesh and clothes being shredded to bits. But when his magazine runs out, you're still standing, determined to move forward. He tries to act as quickly as possible, but he can't reload his weapon before you get to him. A tackle, a primal scream, left punch, right punch, left punch, right punch. You can return this cruelty tenfold to his face. When you're done, the head is barely recognizable as human. You stand above the gunman's body, trying to calm yourself and your killer instincts. That's when you hear her voice. Ugh. Hope slithers out of her car and sees you standing over her assailant. Huh. You did pretty good. She approaches the body of the driver you killed and kicks it so she can take a better look at it. Upon seeing the front of the corpse, she lets out an annoyed grunt. Knew it would be this asshole. He's been following us all day, and I know just who he belongs to. Even before she's done talking, she's already trying to reach someone through a video call. Eventually, she succeeds. You see a nonchalant woman in business casual on her smartphone screen. Hello? Hello? Madam. I'm gonna wife you up. Why is everyone in this game so hot? Seriously, we got Pat Benatar here. Kara Montgomery, how may I help you? Kara. Hope. Didn't expect you to ever reach me through this channel. Have you thought things through? Wait, did something happen? Did something happen? Your fucking ghoul just tried to kill me, you crazy bitch. That's what fucking happened. Calm yourself, for Christ's sakes. This is a baseless accusation. I know he's from Double Spiral. He's been working at your motherfucking company. Come on. You know I can't be held responsible for the independent actions of my subordinates. Why don't we just meet up and talk it over? Hope disconnects the call and instantly blocks Kara from contacting her. You corporate shithead, you make me sick. Tired, she turns her gaze to the dead ghoul. I'll dispose of him. Help me put him in my car. 30 seconds later, his body is laying in the back seat of the lavender-colored wreck. Okay, good. Take a look at the scene of carnage in front of you. Every second we're here gets us closer to a Masquerade violation. I'll have to exchange my Palme d'Or-worthy masterpiece for the goods some other time. She gets behind the wheel and you follow her inside the car. Meet me in my haven when I tell you it's safe. For now, I need to dump this asshole somewhere and get my car fixed and plan our counterattack. You guide Hope to your own haven. She drops you off, and before she leaves, she makes what's about to come perfectly clear. If we want to survive in this city, Kara Montgomery needs to die. She disappears into traffic, and you disappear into your place. We need to take a nap, but we are hungry. I am worried. I am very worried, because you always wake up hungry. This is not gonna go well. Maybe I'll remember that there's some blood in the fridge. Knock, knock. You'd ask who's there, but you don't know if the sheriff of New York City would play along. When you open the door, you see him toying with the car keys he's holding in his hand. Ready to go, fledgling? You don't feel like it, but you give him a nod nevertheless. Excellent. Stay close. He leads you down to the vehicle he's parked nearby. Once again, he takes the wheel, literally and figuratively. Everything inside is just as the way you remember it. Down to the rearview mirror, reflecting the intense stare of your guide. Hi. I just noticed... So I thought the blood was just an overlay, but if you look, it's actually pulsing. I don't know how well that shows up, but yeah, it's actually pulsing, which is even scarier. However, the trip itself feels notably different. The last time Kadir drove you around, he was forcibly dragging you away from your old life. This time, he's pulling you back into it. Y'all, I'm hungry and I'm about to go see my sister. I'm really scared. I don't want to hurt her. Let me tell you how it's going to go. As I've said, I arranged a meeting between you and your kin. It's going to take place somewhere you should know very well. I'll watch over you two from a safe distance and make sure you adhere to the rules. You should know those very well. But I'll reiterate, just so you can't say, I didn't warn you. Don't do anything that would violate the Masquerade. Don't establish some secret route of contact. I will know. Do treat it as the last time you will meet. Take this chance to wrap everything up. Here's your story. Whew. This is intense. You're fine. Found yourself at a crossroads, dedicated to radically change your life and move out of the city. The subway is unbearable. The rent is too high. They've heard it all. However, you wouldn't leave for good without saying farewell to the only person who cared. He gives you a compassionate stare. It's gonna leave a scar, boy. But a true artist knows those are not something to hide, but to display with pride. You're a fresh corpse. People you meet can still leave a mark on you. One night, long time from now, you realize you miss collecting new wounds. The car makes a sudden turn. I'll leave the finer details to you. Just be so kind and don't make me regret it. You can sense he's going out of his way for you, but doesn't try to force you into gratitude by stating it plainly. If you know, you know. He'll see if you're worthy of his aid. We're here. You take a look and recognize your destination. He was right. It is a familiar place. It's right next to that exhibition space, the one where you met your future sire. This is where you saw Emma for the last time. Oh, man. This is so sad. This is where you last saw poor Lamar. Who knows whatever might have happened to him. That's what your sister is trying to find out. I took the liberty of messaging her in your stead. She's up there, waiting for you to come and explain yourself. He turns off the engine and relaxes comfortably in his seat. You silently leave the car and head straight for the exhibition space. The elevator ride up just doesn't seem to end. And what feels like 5 hours, but in reality is closer to 30 seconds, you finally reach the floor. Ooh, I am so nervous, y'all. I'm so afraid I'm about to kill my sister. Alright. Emma's standing there, looking at the paintings. She's trying to act carefree, but is holding onto her bag a little too tightly. When she hears your footsteps, she's startled. Then she sees you, and her eyes immediately fill with tears. She runs up to you and gives you a hearty hug. God damn it, Lamar! God damn it! You stay in her arms, silent for a while. The bonds of blood run deep. This feels right. You're so cold! What happened to you? You look into her eyes and start searching your heart for a lie that would satisfy her, if only a little bit. Oh, what do we say to her? There was a sudden opportunity. I decided on a soul talk. I might need a nappy nap after this. Yeah, let's tell her there was a sudden opportunity. So you see, I met this man, and he was interested in art I make. He was from the other side of the world. You stop mid-sentence. It's perfectly obvious that you're not exactly telling the truth, and her expression makes it obvious that she knows. What happened? Lamar, talk to me. All the life-saving work she sent your way, from that concept artist job to this very exhibition. I've been losing my mind. Talked to literally everybody I know to ask when the last time they saw you was. All the time she's helped you get your shit together. I've always been honest with you. The least you can do is return the favor. She has, and she absolutely deserves to know, but she can't. Kadir is waiting downstairs. Lamar! Her voice startles you. Your first instinct is to run. And like the beast you've become, you trust it. Lamar? You can't do this. Not now. Not like this. She watches you, as kindred, an undying creature of the night, zoom away from her, run into the elevator, and press the ground floor button. This might be the last time you ever see each other. At least look her in the eye and force yourself to tell her one last thing. Oh. The right answer feels like don't search for me. Oh, this is heartbreaking. There's no right answer. Yeah, one's the right one. Don't search for me, for your and my own good. She's too stunned to react as the elevator doors close. You slide down the wall, hiding your face in your arms. You find your own priorities disgusting, but what gets you down the most is not the fact that you failed to give closure to the only person you've cared about. It's more that you failed to make this farewell beautiful. It makes you feel like a failure of an artist. Even with all this newfound power, you still can't express yourself through the canvas of your life. You're still stuck in your old ways. But you know Em. She'll take the pain you've caused her and use it to make art that resonates, that sells. What if authentic trauma is the best gift you could find to repay all her generosity? Yeah, the upside is I didn't eat her. I'm very worried about that right now. Jesus Christ, you're disgusting. If you consider all those emotions commodities, no wonder you're a failure as an artist. Oh, so you guys can't see it, but I got a pop-up for an achievement unlocked that whole scene was called Words We Couldn't Say. The elevator doors open. Better run while she's still up there. Back at Kadir's car, once you close the door, he instantly puts his foot on the gas pedal. Walking off the pitch with no regrets? Said everything you had to say? Kadir sighs. Yeah, that's what I gathered from here. I'll keep an eye on the situation. Placate her somehow if she won't stop looking. I've got some well-tested methods. Non-violent, of course. And that did sound like the Toreador beast. That he was so upset that he couldn't make the farewell beautiful. It's so sad. He gives you a good stare via the rearview mirror. You're an artist, aren't you? You nod half-heartedly. So you of all people should know that things never work out the way you plan. There could always be more time to plan, tools that could help you execute it better. Perfection is just an accident. The only thing you can do is give it your best shot given the circumstances and immediately move on to the next thing. When all is said and done, regret is nothing but narcissism and a waste of time. Sophie, your coterie. Those are the materials you've been given, and they're potent ones. Make the best use of them, so that they might create something more beautiful than your artist's tools ever did. As a side note, I envy you. I wish I still had someone to make my knees feel like jelly, even when you can't see them anymore. Just knowing they're there keeps you in touch with what you once were. The car speeds up to cross an intersection before the light turns red. You give Kadir a good, hard look. Why are you not mean to me? Thank you. Good job with setting it all up. Let's just settle on a nice, simple thank you. Thanks. It doesn't feel like a, how do you call it? Very vampire thing to say, but you say it nevertheless. He's visibly taken aback, and his usually furrowed brow smooths out for a moment. Then he takes on a serious, slightly sorrowful expression. Don't suck up to me, kid. Mr. Bad Guy is still here, And without a doubt, he will go back to decapitating suckers like you any time now. The car starts slowing down. We're here. You look out the window and see your haven. Take care. I'll see you around. Just pray I don't have to see you too often. You leave the car and start walking to your haven, thinking about Kadir. Can't say you're fond of him, well, with the welcome he gave you and all, but after tonight, can't say you aren't either. You're gonna need some more time to understand him, that's for sure. We are so close to feeding. Okay, we're gonna do one more thing, and then we'll call it a day. So, what should we do? Yeah, we need food, but I don't know what route we take for food. I feel like we can probably get food in the gangrel route. Go eat that report. We can't eat the reporter. I have no idea if that's a certain thing we can do. Okay, you guys want to start with the reporter. It's just fine. Well, I don't know if we're going to eat the reporter, but the streetlights filter into the apartment with a stark white glow, as if someone were shooting a movie outside. The art pieces display a tasteful expense entirely fitting the image you have of Sophie. It feels as if 1,000 sins have been committed on these premises, most of them under her benevolent hospitality. Sophie comes to greet you as you enter the living room, shaking her head. You understand that people judge me based on how you dress, don't you? She looks at your clothes as if resigned to your sartorial limitations. I've tried to dress inconspicuously. Because of the masquerade. That's very sensible of you. I suppose I should commend you for that. Sophie walks to the window and looks out, the streetlights playing on her features. She reminds you of a queen contemplating the unfortunate limitations of her subjects. Yeah, give me money for new clothes, Mom! Take me back to school shopping. Sophie needs to take you to that JCPenney back to school sale. You'd think that as a vampire, at least we wouldn't have to worry about the vultures of the press. Unfortunately, when you have power and ability, there are always parasites trying to feed on you. Is there a reporter after you? That last one is very child thing to say to a sire, though, but... Is there a reporter after you? Yes, a terribly persistent creature. Sophie steps away from the window and settles down on a sofa, wine glass with red liquid in it. Blood, treated as not to spoil. You've become good at noticing the scent, even from a distance. She doesn't offer you any as you cautiously sit down across from her. This awful man has been stalking my apartment with a camera. He's gone through my trash, talked to the neighbors. Please be a dear and explain to him that there is nothing for him here. I can't use Auspex. I'll fucking frenzy. Alright. Is this about the masquerade? That's a big deal for us, right? Indeed. You're learning. Isn't this unavoidable? Like, do I have to go kill a reporter? This must happen often. This must happen often. How do you usually deal with it? Everyone has their own way. Sometimes the problem goes away with a bit of money or sharp words. Other times you need something more. Sorry for all the coughing, y'all. Am I in danger? Do I get something out of this, or do you know anything about the report? Let's get some more information. Do you know anything about this reporter? Man, woman, young, old, anything like that? All gossip reporters look the same to me. Time for you to go. I have business to attend to. She is so not helpful. You leave the apartment as Sophie disappears into another room. You don't have a clear idea of the game she plays with the city's mortal and immortal power structures, but she always seems to be making a move. Yeah, it didn't even offer me a drink. Outside on the street, there's a slight warm drizzle, the kind that gets under your clothes and makes you want to take a shower when you get back to your own haven. No reporters immediately jump out at you. If we use a power, we're gonna fuck up. She lacks the hospitality of the ATL kindred. Yes, she does. We can't frenzy in the middle of New York. Jesus. No drinks, no tapestry to take home. Rude. Olivia Grace would never. Hashtag save Olivia Grace. Let's see. Let's stay put and keep an eye out. For a while, it feels like nothing is happening in New York night. People are walking past you, or in the New York night. People are walking past you on their way to whatever nightlife diversions help them forget their sordid lives. As you contemplate going back inside and telling Sophie you're not looking for a new career as a lookout, you suddenly notice the lens of a camera pointed at you from across the street. Hey! You yell and run across the street. It's a man you're sure you've seen somewhere before. Rotund, pasty, someone who's spent too much time in badly ventilated rooms stained with cigarette smoke. Ugh. You enter an alley, a dark, dingy space between two tall buildings. Once upon a time, a place like this might have worried you, made you think of muggings and violence. Now it's clear that the most dangerous thing here is you. Yeah, he's gonna taste nasty. Thank God I'm not a Toreador or a Ventrue right now. Ventrue can't drink from nasty people. The man you are following seems to realize this too. He holds his camera out in front of him like a shield. It's a heavy objective resting on his paunch. With a start, you recognize him. You remember that face, the shaded sunglasses from a picture next to a byline in some trashy paper. The article was about a friend of yours, an artist, who was reported to be dating a celebrity. It was true, but the celebrity didn't want to be associated with your friend and broke it off afterwards. For months, your friend cursed Daughtry's name. Wasn't there a musician named Daughtry? It was like some kind of Christian rock musician, I think. Hey, don't go around scaring people like that. Welcome to Knuckletown! Oh, he was a country singer. Okay, yeah. It was Daughtry, like, that was the band name, but that was, like, also his last name. We are not saying welcome to Knuckletown. This guy may look like Guy Fieri's lesser cousin, but... You're Frank Daughtry. I recognize you from that thing. You're a fake reporter, right?
I'm a real reporter, damn it.
What are you reporting on?
I'm not sure you can help me. Well, perhaps you can. Do you live here? I'm working on a story about a local resident. Her name is Sophie Langley. Everybody knows her in high society circles. From the way you look, I'm guessing you might know her too. She's a redhead, pretty as a picture, and there were a lot of pictures of her through the years. That's the thing, in fact. Look at this.
Frank pulls out his phone and starts showing you pictures. Some have been downloaded from news sites, while others are photos from the society pages of newspapers from past decades. Oh, no. Sophie! Sorry, we're gonna have to kill you, girl. You a masquerade violation walking. All show Sophie. She has different clothes, hairstyles, makeup, names, but the face remains the same. That's strange. They're all hot. Other than that, I'm not sure. Let's play dumb. They're all hot. Other than that, I'm not sure.
Come on, look at the face. It's always the same.
This must be important. You must have a theory about what's happening, or so why does this matter? You guys help me navigate. I'm terrible at these kind of situations. 2. Okay. Oh, we've got some dissension in the chat. 2 or 3. Whoever says it next, that's what I'm doing. Watching the chat. 2. Okay. You must have a theory about what's happening.
I have a theory or two, but before I print my theory, I need facts to back it up. 2 words: extreme plastic surgery. All the celebrities do it. Only a doctor is better than the rest.
You look critically at the photos on Frank's phone. You're looking for a doctor in an alley? Hook me up with this miracle doctor. Let's call him out on the fact that he's in an alley right now. You're thinking the world's best plastic surgeon is working out of this alley?
Okay, fine. I don't know what this is about. So how would you explain it?
We're gonna call it a hoax. Yeah, I think we should go the hoax route. Have you considered the possibility that those pictures are a hoax?
Sure, anything can be a hoax, but I dug up those old papers from the archives myself. Fuck. I gotta have something usable.
Oh, there's no good option here. He's gonna taste like McDonald's. Oh, good. I'm kind of hungry for some McDonald's. Do we want to risk frenzying? Worst case, we eat him or someone nearby. Like, it's better to frenzy, like, in a private room. God, everyone's saying 3. Fine. Fine. All these consequences rest on y'all's shoulders. You look Frank in the eyes. They're red behind his shaded glasses, veins popping from years of neglecting his body. Suddenly he seems soft, easy to manipulate, his will nothing but plaster crumbling under your boot. Go home and destroy your research on Sophie Langley. As your vampiric gaze takes over Frank's mind, he feels less than a person and more like an automaton, a machine you can program. Perhaps this is why older vampires are said to think of humans as nothing but animals. How you can consider someone a thinking person with free will when you can override them at any moment. Frank is mumbling, fondling his camera, inching around you to the entrance of the alley. He looks sad and worn as he goes, a man who used to be something, now just a shell. It feels almost embarrassing to use the powers of your blood on someone so weak. At least you're pretty sure he'll stay away. Yep. Yep. Oh, you guys can't see due to the frame, but like so much of my screen corners are blood right now. Okay. We gotta eat. A face on the night streets of New York catches your eye. You cannot look away. You're supposed to be doing something else. But what was that exactly? Doesn't matter now. Oh no. Sheer beauty. A face, no, a person to die for. You follow them. Get close enough to almost smell them. Almost taste them. Yes, they must taste like heaven. You could ask them to share. Or you could just take their blood. They wouldn't say no, right? Why would they? You're their biggest admirer. So what if people are looking? So what if the whole world learns what you are? It's worth it. You compose yourself, your rational mind fearing a blatant breach of the Masquerade's temporary hold over the beast and its compulsions. It won't last until you feed. You need to quench this hunger before your passion forces you over the edge. Oh. Okay, I know I said one more before we go, and I do feel like that is a perfect space to leave off. That is so intense and threatening, and I am very worried now. Hopefully when we get back to our haven, we'll have some blood there to eat. But yeah, So, thank you guys for joining me. I will be playing Bloodlines tomorrow, continuing with the Malkavian playthrough. That will be at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Same bat time, same bat channel. So, thank you guys again for joining me. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye!